So we're doing some spray tans today, California Tan Solution. Is anyone here an airbrush artist? You're an airbrush artist? I'm going to show you a little. You're an airbrush artist? I'm going to show you a little bit of contouring today. It's not really difficult. It requires a lot of practice. It requires a lot of relatives to practice on who aren't going to kill you when you mess up on them. So it's a very relatively easy process. The name of the game when contouring is natural. You don't want to do too much because someone's going to look ridiculous, but then you don't want to do too little because, well, what's the point in doing it? I'm working on 3 movies right now. I'm working on the latest Bourne installment, the new Sacha Baron Cohen movie that's untitled, and an Isla Fisher movie with Kirsten Dunst that's currently untitled, and all 3 I'm using California Tan Solution. It's amazing, and it's especially great for film. And really great photo work. So we're going to bring our first model up. What's your name? Frank. This is Frank. Thank you, Frank. So with any body type, we can pretty much do a little contouring. With this guy here, obviously, we're going to be able to do a lot more because he has a little bit more to work with. But even on someone who doesn't have as much to work with, there's still lots of things you can do before your airbrush, added onto your airbrush, that can make the body look a lot better, a lot slimmer, a lot more defined. There's a couple different tools you can use for contouring. I like to use the cheapest possible paintbrush that you can find at the paint store, Benjamin Moore. I think this is like 50 cents. And very cheap, but it absorbs the airbrush solution really well, and I never use the same utensil on anybody twice, so they're very cheap. So that's what it is. Cheap paintbrush. So we're going to start with the darker of the California Tan Solutions. And what we're going to do is basically we're going to outline the parts that we want to airbrush and we want to stand out, and then we're going to do a couple base coats of solution on top. And then you'll start to notice that as the hours progress, the parts that we've done darker with the contouring are going to stand up and show up more underneath your base coats, okay? So we put a little solution on the paintbrush, all right, and then we're going to wipe the excess off. We're going to always start at the top and work our way from top inside the body, okay? So for guys, we're just going to extend these shoulder lines out, all right? And then we're going to kind of work in towards the inside of the body, all right? So we'll just give them a little contouring here on a collarbone, a little bit above and a little bit below. We'll leave that on for a minute. So also these great lines are going to form these pectoral muscles right here. So we're going to take these lines here right in between the shoulder and these pectoral muscles here, and we're just going to give a little bit of definition right here on the sides. We could do nice thick lines. And then once we move to the next section, then we want to take what we've already done, we kind of want to just blend it in. Now, when you first start doing this, it's going to look a little strange at first, but then once you start to get a little better at it, you're going to start to notice that the blending is going to get a lot better. I'm going to leave these lines here. Just going to extend the lines here on the pectoral muscles. We're going to bring it up a little bit, and then we're going to bring it round, and we're going to make it very square. Sorry. So literally, we're just painting on lines. Turn to the side for me. It's got a great line right here. So we're just going to take it, and we're just going to outline this just a little bit. I'm going to bring it up. Turn for me. Just relax this arm for me. Perfect. And you can see where the natural muscle lines go, and all you're going to do is just follow that. Really, a third grader could probably do what I'm doing with enough practice. Don't tell anybody that. we're going to turn back here for me. Perfect. So already you can see we're starting to have these really great lines that are forming right here. So now we're going to work into the stomach. Just going to give you just a little bit more right here. Sorry. Thought it wasn't permanent. So I start with a basic line right down here, all right? That's going to be the form of my six-pack. And then from this line here, we're just going to give them a little etching here on the sides. And then we're going to blend everything in the middle. All right, is that good? Actually, step a little bit forward. Perfect. And you're just going to tighten up for me. Shoulders back. Stand up nice and tall for me. Great. So your first intuition is to start with the muscle lines here, but really what we want to do is we want to extend out the arm and then flex. Actually. Oh. Yeah. Loosen up, loosen up. Oh, loosen up, Frank. Loosen up, loosen up. All right. Flex for me right here. Hold it. Is that all you got? All right. Just going to bring this right below the bicep line. And then we'll just blend it in right underneath. Then bring it up around. And then we'll give them a little bit of shadowing right here in the crease. Perfect. Relax that arm for me. Let's see the other one. A little bit more. Perfect. Hold it right there. Hey, the great thing about California Tan Solution that I love so much is it almost is if the solution will actually auto-adjust to whatever natural skin tone you're using it on. So it's really kind of one of the most universal solutions I've ever used. So as detailing looks good, it's going to look better once we put our main base coats, but we can definitely see the outlines here, and that's really what we're going for. The darker you make, the more definition, obviously the darker it's going to stand out. If you're airbrushing a bodybuilder, obviously you're going to want to go a little bit darker than airbrushing a model that's going to be photographed with a high D camera. But I think this looks good. You ready? You ready? Just little tips. There's a lot of different ways that people airbrush. I always airbrush, especially new clients, starting with the back. For a couple reasons. Obviously, you want to give your client a couple minutes to get adjusted with being in the room with you naked, and having them face the wall just gives them a little bit more time to be in the room with you and just be a little bit more comfortable. You can make jokes, and also the most important reason is if by some reason you happen to choose the wrong color, they have no idea. You can always say to your client, you know what? I think we could probably go a little bit darker, get some toner, hose them down, take it off. So start with the back. That's always the best way to go. Alrighty? And this solution's mixed perfectly for you though. Don't worry about it, Frank. What do we talk about? It depends. For all my female clients, obviously I'm a guy, so it's a little bit harder, you know? I mean, obviously I'm a little flamboyant, so it makes it somewhat easier. But, I mean, with girls, you know, you always want to kind of distract them. I always talk about boyfriends. You know, even like the most nervous client, once you start talking about their annoying husband or their annoying boyfriend, after a while, and they're just like, and do you know what he did? And like, you have to stand still. You can't talk. So anyway, just chit chat. You know, the best thing you can do is just make small talk. So I work in sections, so we're gonna start with the right hand shoulder, we're gonna work our way down and over, okay? You can lower your arms a little bit. Don't have your clients put their arms out like this, because after a while they're gonna get tired, they're gonna get agitated. So just a little bit. Enough space so between the arm and the side here, all right? Start with the right hand shoulder, we're gonna work our way down. And everywhere basically that we have a stopping point, like if they're wearing underwear, they're wearing a bra, that's what you're going to use as your stopping point for each section. So obviously we'll use the stopping point here is bathing suit line. Tilt your head down for me, just a little bit. It's pretty much virtually impossible to mess anybody up with California Tan Solution. At least I found. I'm sure it's possible, but it hasn't happened yet. Just because the solution goes on so easily and it dries really quickly, so even if you happen to spray a little too much in one certain section, the solution's going to dry and absorb so quickly that you don't have to worry about it kind of beating up on the surface of the skin. And I always like to dry in between too. Kind of makes drying at the end a lot faster. Even though by the time I'm done spraying, they're completely dried. And with California Tan Solution, it only develops within the hour, so you don't have to wait very long. Great, turn to the side for me, friend. We're gonna extend this arm out for me just a little bit. And we're gonna turn back this way for me. You don't need a lot. You have a lot of space in your room to airbrush. Most of my airbrushing is done in hotel rooms. Yeah, and I use the shower usually. I sprayed J-Lo in her shower a couple times. It's awkward. California Tan makes a great sunless booth here. This little thing right here, and the top is clear, so you can take in people's homes. You get a lot of more natural light. Perfect, face me. Frank, put your arms out for me. Go ahead and put your arms down. Relax your shoulders. Relax your face. You're going to close your eyes for me. Tilt your head down for me just a little bit. A little bit up now. To the side. And over here. Turn me inside for me. Do a little spin for us. Let's take a look. All right, Faith. See some muscle flexing, posing. I'm nice and tall. Yeah, perfect. So we'll give it a little bit. We'll bring him back on stage, and after it's developed for a little bit, we'll see a lot more definition. Give it up for Frank.